And go.
My name is Kierra Dangerfield, and I'm here to talk about airline sentiment analysis. So, as businesses changes, so does the customer sentiment, and they need to be able to track it. So, for the objective today is to create a sentiment analysis that airline companies can use, and to be able to identify um, different business solutions that they can use the model for. So an overview of the data, it was originally got it from Kaggle, but it was originally collected from Crowdflower. It was scraped from Twitter, and the tweets are classified as negative, positive, or neutral. The main columns I'm going to be focusing on is airline, which is the name of the airline company, airline sentiment, which is the sentiment of the tweet, negative reason, which is the reason for the negative sentiment, and text, which is the tweet. So, looking at the distribution of the airline sentiment, I can see that most of the sentiments are negative, and that this is an imbalanced data set, which lets me know when using this data set to create a model, that accuracy alone will not be the best metric to determine the performance of the model. So, looking at the proportion of airline sentiment, I can see that American, US Airways, and United have a higher proportion of negative sentiment compared to the other airlines. In this data set, US Airways has the highest proportion of negative sentiment, and Virgin America only makes up 3.4% of the data. So, looking at the proportion of word count, um, typically, the negative sentiment tweets have a higher word count compared to the positive and neutral tweets, which makes sense because I would assume that if a customer is angry, that they're ranting and raving online, trying to get help with the airline customer service. So, looking at the negative reason for negative sentiment, this shows the top five reasons for the negative sentiment for each airline. Um, which is good to use for airlines to see like which areas they need improvement on. Across all airlines, customer service was the top negative reason, except for Delta. Delta's top negative reason is late flights. So I found the predictive words for each airline. The predictive words are like words that predict that it's going to be a negative sentiment tweet. And I found that for each airline, the predictive words gave me insight about what each airline can improve upon. So for United Airlines, a lot of customers they were stuck. Um, they missed their connecting flight, and they had late and delayed flights. One customer said, I tried, but no one was available in Bogota and everyone was rude in Houston. I was stuck for 35 hours because of you guys. Another customer said, I sure did. I had to drive a total of 3 hours to get my own bag. I like to explain the debacle, but no one wants to talk to me. So for American customers, a lot of them were losing their luggage. One customer said that the baggage handlers have stolen items from them, and they're also experiencing late flights. One customer said, right, but more than 2 hours late flight, and it seems due to poor communication, which sounded like it was annoying on plane staff. Another one says, extremely upset that your baggage handlers decided to go in my luggage and take my belongings. For Delta, their main reason customer experience were late flights. One customer said, "What is the deal with flight 460 today? Departure keeps changing. When is it going? Why is it so late?" Another one said, "Great job getting flight 28 in 10 minutes early. Too bad we're at 50 minutes and counting, waiting on our bags." For Southwest, customers were having trouble reaching a customer service representative. A lot of them needed to call customer service to change their reservations and get boarding passes, but because they couldn't do it online, which made it difficult for them to do that. One customer said, "Why can we no longer change trips with a companion online? Been doing it for years, now get message, can't be done online." Another one says, "Can we have someone call me back? I've been on hold 2 times today for over 20 minutes and still haven't gotten through." For US Airways, customers are also experiencing customer service issues like Southwest, but they're being disconnected from the hotline. One customer said, "I've been trying to call them since yesterday and I keep getting hung up on. Can you get me through to them?" Another one says, "I've been on hold to change a date on a ticket for over 3 hours. Can someone please assist me? Unacceptable." For Virgin America, most of the complaints that customers are having is the website being down and they're not able to reschedule their flight. One customer said, "Is it me or is your website down? By the way, your new website isn't a great user experience. Time for another redesign." Another one says, "How do I reschedule my cancel flight? Online, the change button is grayed out." So for the model that I'm creating, it's going to be predicting if a tweet is a negative sentiment tweet. And the first step is to pre-process the text. So first, we will need to uh, make sure that the text is lowercase, remove punctuations and special characters, including numbers, limitize the text, which is um, return like making text their base word. So instead of like following, it will be follow. Um, Remove stop words and tokenize text, which is putting text in a list. I then vectorize the text, which is turning the text into numbers. I tested between Count Vectorizer and TF IDF Vectorizer, and I based it on the ROC AUC score. So the ROC is the receiver operating characteristic curve, and it's a tool to evaluate the performance of binary classifier. And the AUC is the area under the curve. And typically, the higher the ROC AUC score gives you a general idea of the better the performance of the model. So based on the ROC AUC score, the TF IDF performed the best. So with model selection, I started with logistic regression one, naive Bayes, and random forest. Um, I chose the parameters based on grid search CV, and then and based on the ROC AUC score, the logistic regression one performed the best. I then see if I could improve the model even further, and I use n-grams, and still the logistic regression one model performed the best. So looking at the ROC curve, comparison between the naive Bayes, random forest, and logistic regression, it confirms that the logistic regression is performing better compared to the naive Bayes and random forest. So threshold moving is a technique that classification problems can use to improve the. You can use you can you can Threshold moving is a technique you can use for classification problems to improve the performance of a model. Below is a table based on the default threshold of 0.50 and its metrics. So the threshold, what you'll move your threshold to will be dependent on the business needs. So in like business case one here is like tracking customer sentiment analysis. If a airline company wants to track their sentiment analysis, the customer sentiment on Twitter, they're going to need both the positive and negative class, and this will show like managers like areas of improvement they need to make. And for this particular scenario, the focus would be on balanced accuracy because we're working with an imbalanced data set and we care about the positive and negative classes. So just moving the threshold from 0.50 to 0.70, it improves the balance accuracy from 0.80 to 0.88. So for business case two would be like a customer service scenario. Whenever a customer whenever a customer like tweets out to an airline, a bot can like reply to the customer with an appropriate message, whether it's positive or negative sentiment tweet. Um, and in this case, a false negative will predict a tweet that is positive but is actually negative, and the customer will not receive the proper help that they need, and that could cause the customer to just fly with a different airline and cause the airline to lose money. A false positive in this case would predict that the tweet is negative, but it's actually positive, and a bot could offer a customer a discount or a refund even when it's not needed, and and that could cause the airline to lose money as well. Um, in this case, we could use a F1 score because we care about the precision and the recall, but ultimately it's going to be dependent on the cost analysis of the false positives and false negatives. So, in conclusion, tracking customer sentiment can help improve businesses. This model can be used for airlines based on specific business needs. The next step I would do is to look into the misclassifications because tweets can have some type of sarcasm and the model's not picking up on them. I'll also look at a longer time frame of the tweets because the tweets collected are only from the 16th through the 24th. Questions?
No questions. No questions. Great job. Thank you.